Hello, McFluffy52 here, back with some more Outlaws of Thunder Junction action. Today we were playing a Izzet deck that I'm calling Izzet turn 3, because I've won like 2 games back to back turn 3, and it's just kind of baffling whenever that happens. This deck has the potential to end games really fast, thanks to the new card, Slickshot Show-Off. It is basically super prowess on a flying haster, so whenever you cast a non-creature spell, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. It has flying haste. You can even plot it so that, like, instead of casting it out into removal, you can put it into the plot zone or whatever, into exile, cast it for free at a later turn, and be able to hold up some kind of protection or ways to interact with your opponent. So that is Slickshot Show-Off. That is the powerhouse of the deck. We're also playing some Malcolm here, just because it's a nice body to have. Flying 2/2 haste is pretty good, and then whenever you cast your second spell, well, we're got so many 1-drops, we're so low to the ground that we will probably often cast our second spell. We get a clue. Now, originally I was playing this deck with like demand answers, so you could sacrifice that clue to draw 2 cards. It just doesn't feel as good when you don't have like Malcolm and the clue to go with it. And then besides that, we're playing a bunch of kind of pump spells, draw spells. We got Consider, Sleight of Hand as our kind of draw. We also have Elusive Otter, which is the other kind of all-star in terms of prowess, in my opinion, just because it cannot be blocked with creatures with power less than it. So if you can juice this little otter up with the steroids, the opponent can't block it, and then you're going to be able to smash face really well. But the kind of way that you win turn 3 is you have Slickshot Show-Off, you have like Elusive Otter, and then turn 3, you're able to pump up like Slickshot Show-Off with something like Monstrous Rage or Relic's Roar, which gives base power 4/3, which is very similar if it's not going to be blocked anyways. The trample that you get from the monster roll token doesn't really matter, but yeah. So Relic's Roar is another kind of spicy pick we're playing, but it'll pump up Slickshot Show-Off to like 6 power, and then you give it double strike with Twinferno, and it's going to go up to 8 power. 8 double striking in the air, 16 damage in the air, 3 damage from casting two spells. It's going to get 2 prowess triggers, 3 damage in the ground. That's generally going to finish off your opponent as long as you swung in with Slickshot Show-Off the previous turn. So it is kind of crazy what this deck can do. The last kind of spicy pick we're playing is Inspired Idea, which is 3 mana, draw 3 cards. Your maximum hand size is reduced by 3 for the rest of the game. We don't really care if our hand size is small, because hopefully the opponent will die before that becomes relevant, or like we're just churning through cards so fast that it doesn't really matter that our hand size is going to be smaller. So let's go ahead, hop in some games, and see if we can pull off a turn 3 win. Okay, this is our hand here. I think it's definitely a keep. Opponent goes first, which is a little more iffy, but I think we got untapped lands. We're pretty happy here. It looks like our opponent's playing mono red potentially, or they're playing one of numerous decks that are maybe they're even playing Izzet. I've run into like 2 Boros like Slickshot heroic kind of decks with the Virtuoso, Illuminator Virtuoso. Illuminator Virtuoso is very strong, especially if you get to draw into some of those. No, I don't really plan on blocking. I think we might actually just run out Slickshot Show-Off. Opponent could remove it, but they could also remove the Otter. I don't really want to hold up Spell Pierce for a turn. We're going for lethal. Opponent's got a little bit more slower of a plan. Let's see if we can pop off this turn to really finish off our opponent here. Go with Ancestral Anger to draw cards, so hopefully we draw into a land. That is not a land. I mean, again, we're gonna go searching for a land here. A land would be great. I have 21 lands in the deck. I've somehow flooded out a bunch of games, so I was gonna be kind of sad if we didn't manage to get a card here. All right, let's just go for his maximum damage here. Opponent will probably regret attacking in. 1 damage off lethal. Turn 3. Turn 3. What? Now, we were probably going to die on the crackback here. We were unable to finish off our opponent. But these games, I have to say, the standard games I've been playing today, with this deck have been kind of degenerate. You know, I've lost on turn 3 when the opponent went first with Virtuoso, Illuminator Virtuoso, which was kind of painful. So, you know, it's the games are really fast. So I'm gonna tomorrow, or I think, or later on today, I might try and make a deck that seems to counter these super fast decks and see if I can put something together that will win a fair amount. Opponent does not have lethal, so we're gonna go ahead and just finish them off with Slickshot Show-Off in the air. Yeah, we only need to attack in with this. They can't really kill it. So, GG's. Alright, this is definitely a hand I don't think we can keep. 0 creatures in the hand. Not very good. Also 0 creatures in the hand. This is... okay, that was a bit disgusting on how bad that went. But I think we might be able to... no, we need to draw into one of our draw 3s, which would be handy. Scalding Viper. Do I just run it out? I don't know. I think I might. No cheap spells for you, opponent. Whenever you cast a cheap spell, they take 1 damage. This bounce is very helpful against kind of like mono red. Or I ran into a mono red deck where I actually won purely because of Scalding Viper, like slowing down the enemy, helping to find action. That is not a land, but that is pretty good still. Take a little pump spell, cheeky pump spell. Draws me a card. The Otter is going off. They might have a bounce spell here, so that's why I'm targeting the Scalding Viper as well. Spread out the love. #1 rule of giving your creatures steroids. It's a land. Let's go. I'm gonna save the Monstrous Rage for next turn so that I can like Monstrous Rage and then give it double strike. Because that can be a really good way of pushing in for lethal. One has 2 mana open, they could flash in something. That is gonna hurt them with the Scalding Viper. We don't have any protection in terms of hexproof, so that will happen. Why does it have like a black 3 and why is this black 3/3? I guess it's because it's phased out. But normally they should not be that way. All right. Oh, let me do some thinking. This gives it +3, +4, so that's 5 power. Give it double strike. It's gonna be 6 double strike. I think we just swing in and see what they block. It doesn't particularly matter, I don't think. We can trade away their Jin with one of these buff spell. Huh? Oh, opponent. Oh, sweet opponent. You do not know what is coming. It's pain. It's the pain train. Ouch. March of Swirling Mist is pretty much there. Kind of out here at this point. Oh! Scalding Viper. We're gonna lose one of these games eventually. We will. Ooh, I kind of want to cast that. So if they counterspell it, it's kind of bad. But I think we need to go for the card draw to some degree. I can't block the Elusive Otter, so they gotta like bounce it. Ooh, that's gonna hurt. And then, isn't this lethal? We'll find out. Have a way to phase out the Otter? Bounce the Otter? Yeah, it's gonna hurt again. Still on the ropes. I mean, kind of have to go for it, so. Six power, can't block. Malcolm. Okay, we did it. We beat the mono blue deck that countered one of our spells and phased out our creatures twice. That's kind of funny. Okay, I think I'm gonna try and keep this one. We got two creatures, which is kind of nice. What I was gonna try and say, let me know what you think about. I've been trying to change up in this video where I join into the matches so that it's less time of me just like sitting there waiting for the game to load. It's just straight into the game when I like straight into the hand. As well as I was gonna say, I forgot to mention this as I was talking about it, but I was talking about trying to make a deck that would combat this kind of very fast strategy. So if that sounds interesting to you, consider subscribing, because yeah, need to subscribe to catch future videos. Not a big fan of the way this is looking, in the sense that our opponent could just, okay, they just have Candy Trail. Trying to find more creatures or like a spell pierce so that they can't just like insta sweeper the board. 1 mana open, could have a cut down. Would be a good idea to cut down. March of Wretched Sorrow, exiling Aya. So we're a late game deck. Good to know. I think I will go ahead and consider Shivan Reef. I think we played a land for turn. Yeah, 100 for turn. Well, Ancestral Anger to try and draw into another card like a Spell Pierce. That is not a Spell Pierce. And then we will... Our opponent's completely tapped out, so we're free to just go ahead and go off with all of our pump spells at sorcery speed here. A little unfortunate that we did not draw, but we have Inspired Idea, which can allow us to kind of regroup after the opponent deals with our creatures. The end, that is disgusting. That is disgusting. Alright. Discard a card. Yeah, Spire Bluff now not very useful. I wonder if this is one of those exile decks. Inspired Idea. Foreign. You can bounce the token with Auto Aura.
Under my touch, neither vampire nor human.
I need to find a creature.
Deal with this annoyance.
We may have been bested. This is what I was saying. That was another thing I was thinking about in my head, and man, it's hard to put those thoughts into words sometimes. Is that we had a very dominant first 3 matches, but I have found that this deck is a little bit more even in the amount it wins. I'm currently 11-7 with the deck, which is mostly because of the recent uptick in wins in the past couple of matches, but I've done some tweaks throughout past many games. For instance, I got rid of like Kumano faces Kakazan. I got rid of Monastery Swiftspear just because having those kind of cards blocked by the opponent can feel very bad in a kind of plain but silly way. Opponent going off with the Lifegain here. We'll play it out until our death is due. The rest, kind of annoying, but Scalding Viper fights back. It'll probably make us discard the Ancestral Anger, I would think. It gives us a similar pump and draws us cards. That is annoying. Temporary lockdown. You can see some of these decks very much tuned to running into these hyper aggro decks with these lockdowns and the Marsh of Wretched Sorrow to gain life and remove creatures. Alright. There is some action. We could get rid of Zorin, but I don't think that's what we're going to do. If we pump it up, it will still die, but it prevents it from coming back to some degree. Or like, they're not able to attack in with it, is what I mean. They'll gain back what they lost. Doesn't switch between day and night. I could activate the Restless Fortress, which would drain us. Yeah. They moused over it, so. Opponent's deck is pretty much what I was talking about. Designed to slow the game down. They did a very good job of it. I feel like we kind of have to hit Sorin here just so they don't make another 2/3 lifelinker. I mean, I could have not pumped it, which would probably have been the smart move. Alright, that is going to be a good game. Don't think there's any way we come back from this. They just hit Breach. Let's see what they get first before we go. What are they going to get from us? You get Wanderer. Intriguing. And Malcolm.
Guards, to me.
Well, yeah. That is definitely a loss. Alright, again, 0 creatures. Here we go. 1 creature, 2 creatures. But tap land, and only a tap land. You know what they say, you only live once, right? Alright, I'm gonna give this a try. I think it's a horrible hand, especially since we go first. There's a mild chance though that we just draw a land turn 2 and everything goes wonderfully. Nothing's bad. The sun is shining. There's rainbows in the sky. All is well. But yeah, that last deck, very very tough for us to win, it felt like. I think okay. Opponent is not doing anything, which is a little concerning. But I will cast Slickshot Show-Off and then I'll swing in. Maybe I'll Monstrous Rage the Slickshot. Or maybe I Monstrous Rage the Elusive Otter because it's on the ground and it needs as much pumpage as it can get to get past the blockers. But yeah, what I was trying to say is I've also lost the decks where it's just kind of a ton of those like 1-drops that gain you life. Spread out the love. Turn 4. Sick. I don't know what our opponent was up to. Okay. Creature, but 1 land. Oh my goodness. These hands have been... I'll admit, these hands have been worse than the hand that I have drawn previously. I think I will keep the... We have a lot of blue, so we'll keep the island is land. I love the art for this card. It's just so colorful. The art is a little cute. If this is what the art for Bloomburrow looks like, I'll be happy. Uh-oh. You know what I said about Lifegain decks? Looks like we're facing one. Malcolm, get in there. So you can see just having a 2/2 haster is kind of nice. Another creature we can toss buffs on is also nice. Malia. Yeah, gain 1 life. Land. Alright. Ancestral Anger here. So they can't block our Elusive Otter. It's elusive. Get it? Haha. Investigate. That is not a land. Can I get a land? Thank you. Play this. I will Ancestral Anger on Malcolm. Alright. That should be a fair amount of damage. You can see, again, how like every card, almost every card in our deck, we want it to kind of draw us cards or trigger our creatures. Or they have to be a ridiculous pump spell. Backed. Ugh. Yeah, I don't know if we have this one. These inspired ideas are kind of jamming up our hand here. Do I draw a land? Or try and draw for like a land or something? Probably a good idea. Alright, cool. If we pump up Elusive Otter, they can't block it. We'll do that. We have Spell Pierce, but we can't Spell Pierce little bat. Creepy crawly bat. So that's kind of annoying. This Otter might take us home, but that's some life gain. They should take an inspired idea, I would think, but just because the spell pierces. I mean, if they have something they want to cast through it, probably good. Gain some lifelinker. Trying to decide whether or not they want to keep it. They keep it. Alright. Ooh, okay. Trigger our Otter, draw some cards. Ooh, that's a lot of lands. And then Relic Soror and hope they don't have removal. Please no removal. I think we can swing in with both and still win. Okay, they just concede. That works. That makes it a lot easier because I was worried like if we swung in with both. Let me know if what you would have done in that situation, whether you would have swung in with just the Otter that's unblockable but they could have a removal spell, or like Malcolm where they're a little bit more forced to block just in case. But yeah. Alright. I feel like that last game is a very good example of why we're not playing Monastery Swiftspear and we're playing the Otter and only the Otter as our like 1-drop prowess, is just because the Swiftspear would not get through any of those creatures. Like we could pump it to the high heavens, but the fact that the Otter becomes unblockable is just disgusting. It's really, really good. Alright, this hand is going to be a bit of a mess. Hit save. I love Sleight of Hand. Seeing two cards and picking the best one out of the two. So good. It is so good. We'll go with Malcolm here first, just in case they want to use a removal spell. Because the Show-Off is like a little bit more valuable. Ooh, Sultai, eh? Okay. I might actually plot the Show-Off. I'm a little concerned what our opponent might be doing. This allows us to double spell next turn to trigger Malcolm as well. That's another thing with plot. Great for double spelling when you need it. Yikers. Yeah, that's not what I wanted to see. That's fine. We can save ourselves. Go back. Go back. It's a takesy backsies. And then what do we do? Play the Viper? I think we play the Viper for some extra ping damage. Next turn we can like Inspired Idea into a pump spell and then try and go for lethal in the skies. Again, another victorious dub. Alright, this hand, I'm not gonna lie, this hand looks kind of fire. We got the Elusive Otter, we got the Show-Off, we got some good card draw. I love the Inspired Idea. I feel like people are gonna pick up on it and they're gonna love it. just draw 3 and you're like, okay, whatever, my hand size is now 4, but, you know, I'm just trying to murder you. It don't matter if you're dead. We'll go Show-Off here, and then we can try and double spell for some big damage. Maybe we'll draw into the double strike. Be kind of good. Kind of good. I kind of wish I'd considered here before I did that, but, you know, fine. Opponent might have a removal spell, so I probably will want to hold up the Spell Pierce. Oh, don't really want to land to some degree, I'm not gonna lie. Otter, I like Otter. Otter is cool. Otter gets pumped. Again, opponents now, like, when you see like white and stuff, you want to think of like interaction, white, blue, black interaction. So that's when like the Spell Pierce is good. Otherwise, you can try and get rid of the Spell Pierce. Say it with me. Ouch. Alright. They have the giant Lifegain spell. There's the Virtue of the Third Path or something. Or I'll show the card in a second. Alright, so that's going to be it for the gameplay here. Hopefully you enjoyed it a lot. The card I was thinking of was Union of the Third Path. I knew it had Third Path in it. So maybe if you're losing to these aggro decks, put in a few Unions, maybe put in some of those Sunset Revelries. I think Elspeth's Smite is another kind of card that you can try and like play to tech against this deck. I don't know how to spell. Yeah, here you go. 1 mana, target 3 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. If that would die this turn, exile it instead. This card is really good against kind of like super hypo. It's good against aggro decks is kind of what I'm trying to say. But hopefully I sold you on some of the picks in the deck here. I think Relic's Roar is one card that you're probably not going to see in a ton of decks, but I think is underrated in terms of a pump spell, and it works really well with the Elusive Otter that just doesn't get blocked. It doesn't matter if it gets trample, or like it doesn't need trample from like Monstrous Rage, because the opponent shouldn't be able to block it. And hopefully I sold you on why Elusive Otter is better than Monastery Swiftspear in this sort of situation. Inspired Idea is a super cool card. Scalding Viper, I saw this in some lists online, and I have to say it is pretty good. Just having a few of these where you can bounce and interact with your opponent and then slam the creature is like another thing to pump up or swing in with or deal damage to your opponent is very nice. Few Spell Pierces in here for those kind of important situations where you need to counter something like that other game or that last game. And then obviously the Spire Bluff Canal, pretty much an all-star rare in terms of you're trying to play a fast blue-green, or sorry, blue-red deck. Definitely want to play it. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing. Consider checking out the previous video where we played like Smuggler's Surprise. It was more of a slower, but it was a very interesting Abzan deck where we tried to flash in multiple of the new Tyrant. What is it called? Oh, wrong color. Voltborn Tyrant. This card is crazy. I thought it was going to be bad, kind of bad in the preview season. I was like, oh, it's kind of like Titan of Industry, but worse because it's only like one creature and it's less flexible. Voltborn Tyrant is an absolute menace because you can trigger it so many times, and there's not a lot of removal that is actually exile based unless it's a sweeper, and then this gets you 2 cards and gains you 6 life, which is crazy. So anyways, have a nice morning, evening, night, afternoon, wherever and whenever you're watching. Ciao.